What can you tell us about the roster? Are you expecting Travis and Ilya to be in, or?
We'll know more on them tomorrow. Both, I think, had good days in practice today, but the medical team will have to get with them tomorrow morning, see how they're doing, and then make a decision. Our schedule obviously has changed a bit here now, so it'll just be a decision on just whether it's to play them tomorrow and they feel good and ready to go, or if we give them a little bit more time. So I would still call them day to day at this point.
And how about your goaltender? To be Jack tomorrow night? Does the schedule change how you're going to approach this week too?
Well, our approach was going to be one day at a time. And so for tomorrow it would be Jack, and we'll take it from there.
Would you rather go to Vancouver with this no game in Vancouver rather than stay in Edmonton tomorrow?
I have no preference. I'm going to focus on the Oilers tomorrow. That's it.
Unexpected.
No plans, and no plan in sight. No plan is to play the Oilers tomorrow night, and there's a lot of other people in the organization that tell us where to go, and we'll figure that out.
The thought of getting Cam back, Sheldon, whether he plays tomorrow night or not, he's going to be here sooner rather than later. What does that do for the group and the lineup, and when you have a guy who's a bit of a jack of all trades for you coming back?
Yeah, big for our depth, obviously, because he's a guy that does a lot for us. He big penalty killer. We've been thin on penalty killers this season, and I think that's been exposed a little bit more even here now with Marner not playing the last little bit. And when we didn't have Kasher for a little while, same kind of thing. And, when one of your penalty killers takes a penalty, it's been quite thin. So having another guy that can take on that, we think could be very good for us there. But he was having a tremendous camp for us. We were looking to find ways to expand his role this season, and he was taking advantage of every opportunity we're giving him through camp and preseason. And we're excited about what the season was going to bring for him. This has been a big setback for him, obviously, but he's worked hard to get himself ready to go, and it's going to take him some time, to get back to game level and what we come to expect from him. But he's an important piece of our team. As you're saying here, he does a lot of things for us, and we're going to give him an opportunity in the power play as well when he gets up and running here, and with no Marner, no Spezza, it's good timing for that. So whether it's back tomorrow or whether it's back on the weekend, we think it's imminent, his return, and guys are happy to get him back in the mix.
Where do you think he can still grow offensively?
Well, I think a big part of it, obviously, is just he had no shortage of scoring opportunities, and his speed and things, he generates looks that way. So it's a matter of a little more poise at the net and a little bit more deception in his shot, a little more consistently, getting himself on the interior of the rink. Because of his speed, he tends to get in behind guys a little bit, but you got to really fight for that little extra, extra few feet of ice that changes the angle on your shots, those kind of things. But really, he's just got to stay with it, I think, is the big thing. I thought he was unlucky last season. I don't know how many breakaways he had, but he didn't get one of them to fall for him. So those kind of things, if luck turns a little bit, then all of a sudden, confidence grows and things start to fall a little bit more. But most importantly, he's just the guy that shift to shift is very good and effective for us. Play him against anybody, really play him with anybody. Helps us on the penalty kills we've talked about, reliable late in games. So, all those kind of things, he just makes us a better team.
What's the status of Nick Ritchie?
Nick is sick. At this point, non-COVID, he's been testing negative, but because of his symptoms and such, he didn't travel with us yesterday, so he's not here on the trip right now, and they're continuing to monitor him back home, and he'll join us when he's feeling better, but he won't be available tomorrow.
You guys had some great games against Edmonton last year, but really seemed to build a rivalry for two teams that want to play each other twice a year. Do you think it was any carryover from the emotions of that, or the things you did well against this team last year?
I think there'd be some of that. It's way different this year, obviously, because you're not competing in the standings. At the same degree. Last season we were, two teams at the top of the division that were competing, throughout. So you had those added elements. That's not at play here, but I think any time you play against a team like this that has the caliber of players that they do, it gets your attention, of course, and our team needs to play better. So if that's something that gets us going, then that would be great. But I think it's a different situation this season than what it was last. And most importantly, we're just going to have to tighten up our game and play better.
What do you miss most about not having time as a coach?
He was just a very consistent player every day. You having him around, you knew what you're going to get, knew what to expect. It's nice to have those guys, and we're very fortunate this season. When we look at guys that we've added, like Bunting and Kasha in particular on forward, and what they've brought, we feel like we've got that now. Two guys that consistently, with their effort, their competitiveness, and their skill set, we've been able to add some pieces like that. But that's what you come to expect with Zach Hyman.
When it comes to the game's elite players like what you've got, what the others have, what is it that separates those guys from the other 750 players in the NHL?
I think they're obviously, each player is different and unique. But these, you look at whether it's McDavid, Draisaitl, just their skill sets. It goes without saying with, there's the speed element of McDavid is one of a kind, and that creates a lot of challenges that way. And then Draisaitl's a versatile player, can pass, shoot, good defensively. He's just a threat in so many different ways. So I think just those unique skill sets set them apart. They're just that, they're really good at everything, but they excel, in what makes them unique. And that's a challenge, of course. Our biggest thing, first of all, we just got to stay out of the penalty box. Make them play at 5-on-5 as much as we can, where we can have layers of defenders and do our job there, and then play on offense as much as we can and make them defend. So that is something that last season, playing them as much as we did, that gives us that experience and that sense of how we need to play against them. We did have success with it, but it's a consistency thing, because you make a mistake on one shift and they make you look bad on it, and we experienced that as well last season. So it's really it. But again, our focus, as much as we know what they have on the other side, we've got to just continue to focus on our game. We think we can play better, despite the fact we've gotten some wins and gotten some results positively. We haven't played to the level that we were in November. We want to get that back on track as we've come on the road here.
Sheldon, with Richie out, do you stick with Alex, or do you bring the experience that Senior has in the lineup?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. A lot of it's going to depend on how the lines shake out, and whether or not Mikheyev's going to be available, and what we're going to do there. So we changed the lines up a little bit today, more so to have Mikheyev involved and look at some different things, and the possibility of having either Senior or Steve's play at center. So we just wanted to get a look at that here today. It's not necessarily representative of what tomorrow will look like, but until the lineup is set, we're not going to make that determination. But with Sini coming in, we think he's another guy, had a good camp with us. He's got experience, lots of speed and skill, and he's been a tremendous player for the Marlies this season. They're just raving about his attitude and his performance down there. So just coming out here out west, that was a good opportunity to go with a little more experienced guys, in Sini's case, and Dahlstrom for that matter, which is why you see him here. And we thought coming out west with a Dermott return imminent at some point on this trip, that we could just get Rubens back settled with the Marlies. They're playing at home on Wednesday, and not disrupt him and all of that. So we just went with more of the experienced guys here now with Sini, Dahlstrom, and Biega.
You miss it all. You miss it all. 2 game sets, 3 game sets in one city.
There's a lot of positives to that. There's a lot of good things with it. It is nice to move around and see the different cities, of course. But I think there was a lot of good things that came out of that last season, both from a competitive standpoint and in terms of managing the schedule. A lot less time in airports and airplanes and different hotels and bouncing around. You keep your bags unpacked and settle in. There was some positive things, I think, that came out of that. I think players appreciated it, staff appreciated it. It's a lot easier on the body. This is more of a traditional NHL schedule, and this is what you've got to deal with and contend with, and part of that grind is part of being in the NHL. For players, coaches, staff, and media.
Sheldon, I was going to ask you about that, kind of, I guess, but when COVID impacts you now, like it has this week with the postponement of the game Thursday, is it just a part of life for you guys now, or now that it's taking a chunk of your schedule here, does your concern level rise?
Well, I think the concern level has risen, just not just in this case that it's a direct impact on us on our schedule, but there's been enough, teams shut down, or just even 1, 2, or 3, cases, around the league per team. Like I haven't looked at what the numbers are or anything like that, but it seems like it's happened more frequently this season than it did even last. Last year there was some teams that had large outbreaks, but in terms of its impacting, the entire league, I feel like it's been prominent. So it's gotten our attention for sure. I think obviously everybody's been vaccinated, and you have that peace of mind, but at the same time, it has an impact on the season and whether games are canceled or not. It's players are unavailable, and that in itself impacts the season. So there's the health impacts of it. There's the competitive elements of it. Lots of reasons to continue to be mindful that we are in a pandemic and do what we can to remain healthy, do our part for our communities, but also do our part for our team. To stay healthy and available.